When did I get a call to awaken, or my awakening call? I think I have had many awakening calls. Um, but the first one would have been perhaps maybe when I was like around 30, turning 30, or yeah, turning 30 or so. This is when I had this feeling of leaving my job and starting something on my own, like a business. I had this strong feeling that I was done with the corporate world and I wanted to invest in myself in some way where I would do something that I liked, something that would explore my other gifts and qualities. And I was just basically tired of the red race. I had been tired of the red race since, because I started working at a very early age. I started working at 16. Was it 16 or 17? 17, 16, something like that. And I finished school early. I think I finished school at 16. I was finished with my matric and I started my varsity. But then during that year in varsity, later that year, I got a job offer. Instead of a bursary, I got a job offer. Um, and yeah, instead of giving me a bursary, the company gave me a job offer. So I started working then, and 16, 17, 17 or so, 17. And then immediately, just like 2 weeks working, my first complaint was that why have I not been paid? Because I had this perception that I work and you pay me. This whole thing of you getting paid month end was like, what? Wait, why? I work today. Why are you paying me only month end? That's actually interest that these companies owe us, but we'll talk about that some other time. Anyway, and it's exactly what they're doing. They're taking that money of yours, they're putting it in some bank, they're earning interest with it instead of you earning interest on it, and they only pay you after in 30 days. I was like, bullshit. I want my money now. I kept quiet for like first week and I was like, okay, I don't hear anybody complaining. We haven't been paid in a week. So what's going on here? And I knew so many people who got paid in a week. Um, the monthly one, I hadn't heard about it. So the second week I complained. I was like, heck, when are we getting paid? Um, I did read the contract, right? But I don't know, somehow I missed this month end contract or portion of it. So this colleague of mine, we both knew, straight from school, and she's like, no, it's month end. I was like, why month end? Don't they pay in weeks? Like, don't I get a choice? I want to get paid every day. It's like, no, they only pay us in month end. Companies pay in month end. I was like, nah, man, that concept just doesn't sit right with me. So anyway, I find out that no, we're gonna get paid in month end. All right, this is bullshit, but I don't know what it looks like. So I get paid month end, and I'm like, okay, I got paid at least. But I'm like, still, it just didn't sit right with me. Anyway, when I got tired of the work environment, I was probably in the job for like 6 months or so. And I was like, this doesn't work. The system doesn't work because I need to do something with this money. I'm working so that I can put this money somewhere else. That is, I was working with the idea that I was going to take the money and invest it somewhere else in my own endeavors. a business or something. But I couldn't do that when I needed to do that because the money is held up for a whole month before I get it. Like I couldn't feed it into something. Anyway, and when it comes, it doesn't look anywhere near what I expected. And it can't do much for me because it's got all these bloody deductions on it. And I'm like, what the heck is this? What is this? Where's the money? And I just didn't like the concept. But anyway, so 6 months down the line, I was like, this shit is not for me. You know, this is not for me. And I'm telling Father, I'm listening to my boss going on and on about something. Like we used to have this like chit chat type of meetings where like the bosses, the supervisors would like give advice or talk to people give their issues and stuff like that. And I'm just attending it for the sake of, it's like a whining session kind of a session. I'm just attending it for the sake of, okay, I need to be there, right? We all standing. They used to call it stand-up meetings or something like that. And I'm listening, I'm sitting there. I was going through my periods that day even. And I'm just looking at this man talking and I'm like, yeah, Father, I can't do this. I was like, no ways. I want to quit. I am done with this. I just don't understand this. I'm living in this building and I have to dress this way and I have to sit there and I have to, contend with these attitudes of people. You need help, they don't help. You ask questions, they don't know or they don't want to tell you. It's like a very toxic environment. And there's these perverts as well. I'm like, Father, I can't do this. I need to quit. Father's like, no, you can't quit now. You're going to have to stay longer. I'm like, I think I said something like, after 3 years, I'm out of here. Right? Father's like, no, you're going to have to be there for more than 5 years. I was like, 5 years? Like in my head though, like if I must have changed my face because I remember the guy who was talking, the supervisor was talking, looked at me like he said something wrong. And I was like, no, 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 it's fine. It's nothing. And I'm just standing there looking at this whole thing. And I'm like, this is bullshit. This work thing, this job thing is bullshit. Because I've always had that idea of making my own money in my own way, of having a business. And I've been good at it actually. And my first business was selling apples, by the way. Anyway, this is me thinking I could be selling apples. All I needed was to be paid for a couple of days, and I would have bought so many apples or bought enough. I think that's what I wanted to do, buy apples, like buy fruit and veggies and sell fruit and veggies. That's what I had intended to do. I wanted to start a business like that, where it would be a business that I start and I don't have to do this. I can go and be my own boss. But this is another reason why I believe they keep your money for 30 days before they give it to you, so that they invest it for themselves, get interest on it, and two, so that they keep it and then they deduct as much as they can. Three, they know that you need to come back. They're going to have you forced to come back because the money that you eventually get is not what it looks like when they were saying, oh, you're going to earn this much. But the deductions are not really shown. The impact of, okay, now you're looking at it, you're like, okay, fine. I get this money. I've been working. Everybody has this expectations of you. You need to buy food. You need to buy clothes. You need to buy put petrol in or use it for your transport. You need to get to work. All these things. And then eventually you're left with 2 or 3 days worth of salary. All those 30 days is like you were living on debt. You work, And then you live on debt. You are working on a daily basis, but your company forces you to live on debt on a daily basis until you get paid month end. So by the time you get paid month end, you have to pay back all that debt first, and then you're left with only maybe 2 or 3 days worth of income so that you can survive the rest of the month. This is bullshit. It's a trap. Anyway, that wasn't my first calling, by the way. That was just me being like, this is not me. My first calling was like when I say I was like around 29 or 30 or so. And I remember feeling like I need to leave my job. And I was ready. I had saved money. I had like a pension fund, and I had my own other investments that I was keeping so that I can retire early, so to speak, and go and do something on my own. But by the time I needed to do that, I remember I got offered another job in another company. I didn't want it, but they were so, I don't remember, but I think father even said something like, you should go because, like it wasn't time yet for me to wake up. I wanted to wake up then, but it wasn't time. So I went to work for this other company. But then now I still had that idea of I'm going to leave a job one day and I'm going to be my own boss. So I keep saving, keep doing what I need to do with the idea of keep trying to find out what can I do, because as time goes on, the vision that you had of selling apples is no longer going to be relevant if you are sitting there for 30-40 years, right? There's new type of businesses which are coming up, so you need to change. And this is another reason why you get trapped in this shit, because you are told you need to do this shit only when after 60 years you get your pension and whatnot. It's just to delay you. They know after 60 years you won't be able to even move, sometimes you might not even be able to move. You're not moving fast, you're not thinking fast, you're not fast anymore. You don't have that, not only physical capacity, but also that thing, man, of wanting to do something. It's that mojo is gone. They sucked it all out of you. But anyway, I then decided, okay, I stay long. And then eventually the time came, right? The time came and I had planned it, and I said, Father, at this point, this is when I need to leave. Okay, I actually said to the universe, to Father, please show me a sign when I should leave, when would be the best time to leave. Then I had a dream. They gave me a date and a month and a year. And then I told my boss, or my boss at the time, and I said to him, I'm going to leave next year, February, end of February. I'm planning to leave, so I'm giving you my notice. This is 6 months before. It's like, no, you're not going anywhere. And I'm like, no, I am going. I want to go, but I'll let you know when. But I think around February or so. I haven't made that final decision yet. She's like, nah, I know you're not going to go anywhere. I'm like, yeah, we'll see. But I'm just letting you know that you now start planning towards me not being here. So I'm definitely going. Even if it's, whether it's end of March, end of February, or end of March, I'm going. Leading to those events is the death of my great uncle. Leading to that wake-up call, right? That was the first wake-up call. Just before I left, I had already told my boss, and then I think I told him, and then after telling him, my great uncle dies maybe soon after. And this is where the shit hit the fan in my family. where they started doing all kinds of shenanigans, keeping things from me, stealing the inheritance, or coming together to steal the inheritance, coming together to basically kick me out of whatever it is that they were planning to to keep for themselves, because apparently things were left for me and they didn't want me to get that. And the whole family essentially came together to make sure I never find out that I have an inheritance that is due to me, or inheritances that are due to me, that I never also take up the position that I was supposed to take. And all this, when this is happening, this is how my wake up call comes in. When that first one, when that is happening, I'm actually awake. That is that decision to leave work, right? And my uncle's death triggers my awakening. And when it triggers my awakening, I'm like away. I wake up and I'm like, damn, the mission. I'm fully awake and I know exactly where we are in the mission, and I know everything. Then I see family. It's that time. This is my planned wake up. And it was supposed to be, I wake up, I take on the position of light, I go in there, I deal with the demon, and then there's like a death of me because of, it looks like, or like a state, is it, I was going to die blowing up the what do you call it, the portal where these demons are coming from. But I wouldn't die. It was just a, in on the physical, it would look like I died. I couldn't handle the position and I died. And then my great aunt would have to step in then, because the porthole, the portal would be closed. So she would take up the position without that demon, sort of the demons being part of it. But now she goes and does what she did to basically prevent me from doing what I was chosen for, both in hell, well, I mean, both in on earth and in heaven. And she uses the whole family. She gathers the whole family to make sure that they support her on this thing. But everybody's quiet. Nobody's telling me anything. They're just doing this. I can hear like the whispers around me. Anyway, she goes on and takes this position. This was my first wake up call. And I'm looking at father, I'm like, what now? So my family, my whole family, including my mother, they're watching this whole thing. This is after my uncle's death, my great uncle's death. They're watching this whole thing happening and they're disgusted. They can't believe this whole family is doing this. Anyway, my mother even got so upset that she got up and left. She couldn't watch anymore, because she basically, everybody was, my family, my heavenly family was watching this earth family backstab me like that. So I asked father, I was like, what now? Because I was supposed to assume this position and then we do what we need to do and I leave this planet. He's like, it's fine. I'll take you through the back door. You'll still do what you need to do, but I'll take you through the back door. Because I'm like, isn't that going to take long? He's like, don't worry about it, right? Because I was concerned about time taking longer. So I was like, okay, so what happens? I was like, he had to go and, obviously, I think he had to go and adjust the plan a little bit or something like that. Anyway, I'm awake now, right? I got the wake up call. I'm awake. My uncle died. I was supposed to assume the position. I'm awake. Now, father says to me, you're going to have to go to sleep again. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to sleep again. I'm concerned. What if I don't wake up? He's like, I understand what you're saying, but then it's going to be hard for you. Are you sure you want to do this? I was like, yeah, let me try and see how it goes. I'm telling you, for the first 2 weeks after my uncle died, I just couldn't hack it. Everybody around me was just if I were to use I don't have the best words for it, but they were just annoying. They were just annoying and triggering. And I remember saying to Father, okay, I can't handle this. Please put me to sleep again. I cannot handle being awake and being in this environment. Father's like, okay, fine. Then I sleep, right? So when that sleep happens, what they do is also that was meant for them to delay me from doing on continuing with my mission. That is the devil, my aunt, and my imposter goddess sister. So there's a issue with her putting a mirror in a way that it would easily fall. That is, they set me up to break a mirror. And then after setting me up to break a mirror, she's like, oh, this is my sister, my imposter goddess sister. You broke a mirror. 7 years of bad luck. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't know there was such a thing, by the way. It's like 7 years of bad luck. And then she's smirking, this bitch. She's got a smirk. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no such a thing. She's smiling. Then she goes into her room and I think she's laughing. She's happy about what she just did. Then Father appears and it's like, don't worry about it. You'll get through it. You'll be fine. And I'm like, what's that about? 7 years of whatever. She's like, don't worry about it. You'll get through it and you'll be fine. But this is the toughest 7 years of my life. Like everything's just heavy. You know, things are not going right at work. Is it work? No, actually, this is when I'm having to leave on the February, the next year. My uncle died around August. I think that's when I told my boss that I was going to leave in February, August, September. Anyway, that call, I had to go back to sleep again. But then when I went to sleep, Father says to me, remember to put up your wake-up call, your own wake-up call. You must shift it again. And I said, okay, fine, I'll shift it. Like the alarm, I must move my wake-up call. I had an own internal wake-up call that I set up for myself. And that's when Father said, he will also move the ones that he set up for me. And then he did. And then I basically went through 7 years. This is when I left my job. For the first 4 years, 5 years, I wanted to start my own business. There was COVID. There was, a lot of distractions. Eventually, I had to wait for 2 to 3 years or so because COVID went on for a while. And even when it finished, there was still like a delay in the process. So by the time, and I had bought a farm as well, to move to a farm because I couldn't afford to live where I lived without making income. So in my business, I didn't start making income. So I had planned to move to buy a small hold where I don't have to pay too much rent if I had to pay rent. And I had an opportunity to keep some things for myself, like do some sort of subsistence farming. Little did I know that subsistence farming is also one of my recreational purpose, which the devil wants to prevent me from doing, because if I walk in my purpose, it means that they cannot draw energy from me like that because I'm using that energy for my purpose. Anyway, that's a story again for some other time. That's when my wake-up call happened and I'm going through it now. So this is my start of that 7-year cycle of bad luck. They are just basically doing it themselves, deliberately making me go through shit for that 7 years. Plotting against me, witchcraft, all kinds of things. Eventually, through that 7 years, when my uncle had passed on for the 7th year, this is when I was expecting for what do you call it? There's a fly in here. I'm gonna have to go fight this fly out. They always send some fly every once in a while when they don't want me to continue. Always, always, always. I can trust the fly to come through. But anyway, what can I do? And it just flies right in my face. You can see that this fly is just trying to annoy me. I didn't give the rabbits water. They're eating that, what do you call that plant? Alu plant for water. And they love it, hey? But anyway, that was my first wake-up call. Then I'm going through this process now for 7 years. During that 7 years, there's the 4th year, I think. Not 4th year. There's, I think, year 3. Because of they've started this shit and things started happening to them. That is my family. And they keep trying to put me in a way. So they're doing all sorts of things. It's just weird things happening. All sorts of stress. But they're also going through it. Because what they were doing was, it wasn't panning out. The stuff that they were trying were not working out the way they thought it would. The second time when I eventually, that was the second time when I get a wake-up call is when my grandmother's birthday, I think about 3-4 years ago. Is it 2012? 2012, yeah. 2012. Yeah, 4 years ago in April. And we had a party. They had a party here. And how they wake me up, they woke me up this time. Father didn't wake me up. They woke me up. And the old man, that is the devil himself, disguised himself as the maid, right? From my uncle's maid or my grandmother's maid. And she basically tells me all kinds of things, that she has these gifts and what, and she sees me and she thinks it's time I got my things and what. And I'm looking at her and I'm listening to her. She's like, I asked your mother. So she got buy-in from my mother that I needed to talk to you, and she agreed. But then she said, I must ask you. So it's her and my mother. They came up with this whole whatever. Because they said, if we use you as a mother, she won't feel like I'm going to hurt her, right? They use the trust of a mother. But in my beingness, I'm just feeling like somehow I'm supposed to let this happen. I think I even had a vision of this happening, and I was like, somehow I have to let this happen. So she's like to me, go, you need to go get me water. Go get a glass of water. I agreed to it. I was like, okay, fine, let's see what you're talking about. I'm not even afraid at the time, but I have a feeling that something's about to happen. Let me just do this. So I go and get a glass of water, and I make it almost full. And then when I bring it to her, she's like, no, go and spill a little bit of it and give me half of it. Bring at least half. And then she shows me where, up until where. And I go and I do that. I spill half. And then I go back to to her and my mother. We are in a room. They made sure that I'm in a room, in a different bedroom, in her bedroom, so that they can make it as if like they are just like doing something secretly or so. I give her the glass. In my head, when I'm handing her the glass, I'm looking at her and I'm like, I wonder if you can handle this shit. Because I just knew, I just had that innate thing that this is not going to be the same as you thought it would be. Then I give it to her. She goes like, and I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. And then she's like, holds it and does some prayer or something like that without even saying any word. And then she says to me, take this water, go and face the sun and spill it towards the sun. joyfully so, with joy and whatever. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. And I do that and I spill it. That was her basically waking me up. Then I woke up because that thing that she did, it was my wake up call. It's what I put as a wake up call, that when someone asks me to offer them water and they do that step, which is the step that Uncle Oldman used to do on the ship when we were coming through here, on the spaceship when we were coming through here, he used to ask me to get him water. At the time, he was disguised as one of the angel healer demon. And he's like, he's like, so when they basically woke me up, they triggered me, and I woke up. I was like, ah. And I knew, because I was afraid, but at the same time, I said to Father, I'm afraid. I just said, I'm afraid. But I knew deep down inside that I had to do the steps of hers. And as soon as she's finished, I was awake. I was like, I'm awake. Because I couldn't wake up, because if I went into another sleep, and it suppressed me more. So they thought, okay, yeah, we have her. She's sleeping. She's not going to wake up. Father tried to wake me up a couple of times, many times with different ways. I didn't wake up to those calls. But this specific time, this specific alarm, when it happened, that is when they asked me to offer them water like that. They didn't know that that was my setup of my awakening. Just in case Father's ones failed. Anyway, that's when I woke up. Then I was to go through this whole awakening process. Started soon after my grandmother's birthday. My father says, you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose everything. You're going to go through some very hard time, but don't worry. You'll get it all back and more after, right? So I'm like, okay. And it's like, don't worry about anything. Everything is going to be fine. I'm like, I guess I'm where I am. Then I was to go through my awakening with this bunch of witches and bitches, and I don't know what you want to call these fools. But yeah, they made it hard for me. They made it really hard for me. They made sure that I lose everything. What they didn't realize is that is part of the design as well. Father made sure that in order for me to learn, to wake up fully, to ascend, to be stronger, he allowed that shit to happen so that I can stand firm in my strength. And yeah, that is when I got my call to awaken. I got it about 3 times. I think it's about 3 times. Yeah, when I was like 29, 30th or so, when I wanted to leave work, they delayed that. They made sure that I go into another job. And Father's like, go in because we still have to fix some other stuff. It's fine. I wasn't supposed to stay there long. I was supposed to stay there for 2 years. But they prolonged it, and I was all of a sudden there 7 years. Anyway, then the second one was when my great great uncle died. Then that was the main one as well. I was supposed to wake up again. I woke up, but I couldn't take up the position, meaning at the time, then it meant that Father had to find a way to take me through the backgrounds, in the background, to do this process without having to take up that position because it was already assumed by my aunt, I guess. That was the second time. The third time is when now they decided that they wanted to put me in a way that is they're taking everything. They're taking the inheritance. They're taking everything, and they're just basically going to turn me into this lump of nothing sitting somewhere in a corner while they siphon from me energy every time and they steal my inheritance. They thought that shit would be funny and they laughed, and now they're surprised. Why the fuck am I still standing? Shit ain't funny anymore. But anyway, yeah, that's how I got my call to awaken. I wonder how other people get their call to awaken. But I could have awoken like many other times. I could have woken up many other times. Not many other times, but yeah, I think that there were many other times. I just don't remember like which times Father tried to like, hey, how are you? Wake up. I know one time he tried that. I was at work, and that is when he tried it with my counterpart that I came with here, the one who killed me on the ship. He tried to get us together, to wake up to each other, to try to wake both of us together, to realize who we are, with why we have this feeling or know of knowing each other like that, this attraction to each other. We both he went his way and I was like, heck no, not him. Not in a bad sense. I just didn't see how that would even be a thing. I remember Father saying, "You're gonna wake up to realize that he was yours, and you are his, and you are also a child of God." I was like, "He's mine. What does that mean? And I'm his. And who's this grandfather who's talking to me in my, like in vision? Why am I talking to who's this old man?" I said, "Not old grandfather, but so who's this old man talking to me?" Father, then I see him in my inner vision kind of a way, going like that, like he was exhausted. He was exhausted trying to wake us up, I guess. And I think he tried many times, and I remember hearing even the angels crying, and I'm like, wait, why are angels crying? And this wasn't the first time I heard angels cry. Yeah, wake up calls.